you guys all just give us a minute. Our voting machines are not currently working. Oh, they're slow. Mine's starting up. Good morning, everybody. The time is now 10:04, and I would like to go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, August 24th meeting of the License and Variance Board. I'll do this while they're getting set up so we can kind of move through the process. To my left is, yeah, I'm up. To left, to my direct left on the committee, oh, I didn't introduce myself. See, we're a little diswobbled this morning because of technology. Okay, my name is Penny Michelle. I'm actually the Deputy City Administrator. Welcome this morning. To my left is Bo Jones, who is our Assistant Director of Public Works, and to his left is Richard Garland, the Director of Parks and Recreation. We have a few items of business this morning, so we'll go ahead and start with item 2A. That is item 2A 2022-118. A public hearing for a variance request, variance V22-016, to reduce the street side setback from 23.3 feet to 15.9 feet, lot 488, 1191 Bank Street, applicant Joan M. Stewart. This item has been asked to be withdrawn at the request of the applicant. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This item's been properly moved and seconded. Please vote. Okay, great. This item 2A has been withdrawn of a vote 3-0. Next item on our agenda is 29, which is a public hearing. It is a variance request, V22-054, to allow impervious surface area increase from 35% to 45% on lot 312, 338 Autumn Lane. Applicant is Ryan Hackman. Ms. Crow, would you please provide us the background?
All right. Good morning, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1, Community Development. So this variance is V22-054 to increase that maximum impervious surface area from 35% to 45%. The subject parcel is a 0.49 acre lot located on the south side of Autumn Lane, right at the southern intersection of Autumn Lane and Autumn Place. The subject property is currently occupied by a 6,000 plus square foot single family home, as well as a large circular driveway in the front of the property. The applicant is proposing to build a 378 square foot in-ground pool and accompanying deck area in the rear yard. Over time, gravel surfaces have been added in the rear to accommodate different play areas, which has caused the property to go over the allowable 35% by 2.8% without further obtaining a variance. Due to the existing home and large driveway, the impervious surface area will be increasing another 7.2% with the addition of the pool. Since the existing property was already non-conforming, the hardship is not considered self-created. To offset the increased impervious surface area, the applicant is removing those graveled play areas, the sidewalks, and a patio, as well as proposing 2 bioslopes that will provide a 50% reduction in stormwater runoff volume. The city engineer has reviewed the application and is supportive of the proposed mitigation plan. Additionally, the subject property is buffered from adjacent properties by an existing 6-foot wooden privacy fence. In fact, the closest structure to the proposed pool is almost 100 feet away. So due to this fence and that location of the pool, community development believes the proposal will not adversely impact the surrounding neighbors. Community development believes the variance is the minimum variance needed to construct an in-ground pool on the property, and similar variances have been approved in the city before when an appropriate mitigation method has been proposed. It has been properly posted, and after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval with the following standard condition. Approval of the requested variance is conditioned upon the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and mitigation plan submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Board members, do you guys have any questions for staff?
All right, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Is the applicant here? Wonderful. If you guys would make your way up to the podium and give us your name and for the record.
Yes, my name's Greg Jones with Complete Permitting Services. Ryan and I work together, and she couldn't be here. She works for me.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Do you have any additional information to add?
no, I mean, think we've had the engineer visit the site to all work through the process, make sure we can meet that. Then once the construction's complete, he'll have to come back and verify that we did it all correctly before we can obtain our final CO, which is not a problem. The owner's here, planning on, we know there's going to be maintenance for that moving forward, and plan on supporting that.
Wonderful. Members of the board, do you guys have any questions for the applicant? You did say the owner of the property is here.
Yes.
Can you come forward too? I just want to. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. We'll be this week really quick. I just want to make sure that you understand the standard condition that Ms. Crow has given you as far as the completion of the project and everything. And I just want to make sure you're very clear what that means, and they're good to do that.
Indeed.
Wonderful. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak in favor or against it, if you would, make your way to the podium. We'd be happy to hear comments. You're good. Seeing none, I would ask for a motion, please.
That's V22-054, allow impervious surface area increase from 35% to 45%. Lot 312 at 338 Autumn Lane, Ryan Hackman, applicant.
Second.
This item has been properly moved and seconded. Can you please vote? And this item has passed by a vote of 3-0. Thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is 3-0, again, a public hearing on a variance request, V22-056, reducing the side setback from 10 feet to 7.3 feet for a shed on lot 486, 3071 Nichols Street. Applicant is Lori Tozier. Hope I said that correctly. Ms. Crow, would you please provide us the background?
All right. Again, Caitlin Crow, Planner 1 Community Development. So this variance is V22-056 to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 7.3 feet for an existing shed. The subject parcel is a 0.24 acre lot located on the east side of Nichols Street. So this property in May 2022 actually had code enforcement drive by and saw that a newly erected shed was unpermitted and did not appear to meet the current zoning code. After investigation, it did appear that the shed was built in the side setback and did have electricity run to it as well without a variance or a permit. The applicant is proposing to retain that 120 square foot shed on the side of the property and did quickly come in to apply for the variance. If the property is approved for this variance, the applicant will move forward with that electrical permit. The shed is currently being used as an office space and sits roughly 7.3 feet from the side of the property. The location was chosen to maximize the yard space for the applicant's young children. The subject property is also buffered from adjacent properties by an existing 6-foot wooden fence, so it is it's not very visible to the public right-of-way. It is also roughly 45 feet from the nearest adjacent property. Due to that existing fence and the location of the shed, Community Development believes the proposal will not adversely impact the surrounding neighbors. It has been properly posted, and after reviewing the variance application, staff does support the request and recommends approval with the following standard condition. Approval of the requested variance shall be conditioned upon the development of the property in substantial compliance with the site plan and elevations submitted with the variance application. And I can answer any questions you have.
Great, thank you. Board members, do you guys have any questions for staff?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Is the applicant here? If you would please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lori Tozier. The address is 3071 Nichols Street.
Great, thank you. Do you guys have anything additional to add to the board, for the board?
Not really. I mean, another thing just to add that any neighbor that we had to go around and ask 9 neighbors to sign that they knew that we were applying for the variance. And none of them had even seen the shed. The ones that were close or, the ones that backed right up to it, they didn't even know he had built it. And we did, I can't remember if you added this in there, we did put it on the side yard, not understanding that that wasn't allowed. But we also moved the fence up on the side yard, so it's not in front of the fence, it's behind the fence, and there's a large tree that goes, you can barely see it peeking up. So I just don't think that it's, in the way of anyone. It's not an eyesore to anyone.
Wonderful. Board members, do you guys have any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. This is actually you do understand the standard condition that Caitlin read for as far as the condition and getting that all done, correct?
Yes, and in fact, I've already started the process of the electrical permit.
Wonderful. Now this is a public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to speak in favor or against, if you guys would please come forward and state your name for the record. Let the record show that we have no one here to speak on this item. With that, I will entertain a motion from the board.
Motion to approve variance request V22-056, reduce side setback from 10 feet to 7.3 feet for shed lot 486, located 3071 Nichols Street, Lori Tozier.
Second.
This item has been properly moved and seconded. If you would please vote. This item has been approved by a vote of 3-0. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Our final item today is item 2D, 2022-431. It's a public hearing, variance request V22-055, allow encroachment into a 75-foot impervious surface area setback, lot 696, address 1921 Sadler Drive, and the applicant is Eddie Carr. Ms. Crow, if you would please provide us the background.
All right. Caitlin Crow, Planner 1, Community Development. So this variance is V22-055 to allow encroachment into the 75-foot impervious surface area setback. The subject parcel is a 0.23 acre lot located on the north side of Sadler Drive. A stream does run through the northern boundary of the property and continues through the adjacent western and eastern properties. There's also a 15-foot drainage easement just north of the deck on the existing home. The applicant is proposing to build a 691 square foot in-ground swimming pool and accompanying decking in the rear yard. Due to the existing stream, the rear yard is encumbered by the state's 25-foot stream buffer, the city's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer, and the city's 75-foot impervious setback. Thus, the applicant requires relief from the city's stream buffer protection ordinance in order to construct the pool and decking in the rear yard. However, due to the physical constraints of the site, including the size of the lot and the existing home, there is no feasible area to install proper mitigation on the property to offset the disturbance to the buffer. After a site visit on August 15th, 2022, the Assistant City Engineer made the determination that the 25-foot and 50-foot buffers are currently properly vegetated and currently facilitate the protection of water quality and aquatic habitat, so a buffer remediation plan would also not be applicable to the site. After the site visit and review of the plans, the Assistant City Engineer cannot support the variance due to a lack of a feasible mitigation plan. Per section 46-160B.1, within the stream buffer protection ordinance, variances may be granted to properties where a parcel has been platted prior to the effective date of this article, and provided such variance require mitigation measures to offset the effects of any proposed land development on the parcel. Since the property was originally platted in 2006, after the ordinance was enacted in 2005, and no mitigation plan has been proposed for the property, staff cannot support the variance for this subject property. Community Development believes the hardship is self-created, as the lot of record has existed after the stream buffer ordinance was adopted. Without a mitigation plan to offset any potential effects to the buffer encroachment, staff cannot assume that there would be no negative impacts to adjacent properties if approved, and thus cannot recommend approval. It has been properly posted, and after reviewing the variance application, staff is recommending denial. I also do have Assistant City Engineer Frank Karuba with me for any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Crowe. Board members, do you guys have any questions for Ms. Crowe or Mr. Karuba?
Can we have Frank explain what, would you do that, Frank? Just explain why there's not a way around this?
As Caitlin mentioned, the lot has physical constraints, that it's a very narrow lot, but it's a very deep lot. And the back of the lot consists of the 25, 50, and 75-foot buffers and impervious setback. As Caitlin mentioned, the existing 25 and 50-foot stream buffers are not impaired or impacted, so there is no place to do remediation or improvement. The encroachment would be in the 75-foot impervious setback. In order to offset that, the applicant would have to provide a mitigation plan. And what we did, for example, at Autumn Lane is they installed a stormwater management system which addressed stormwater runoff in terms of quantity and quality. However, because this lot is so narrow, to install a stormwater management system, you have regulations which dictate that it cannot be within 10 feet or 25 feet of a building foundation, 10 feet of a property line, or 100 feet from a stream. And therefore, when we met on site, there were not a visible place to put a stormwater management system, and the applicant has not provided any suggestions for that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No other questions? Okay. Is the applicant here? If you would please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Morning, my name is Eddie Carr. I'm with Bella Reed Construction and Remodeling.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. Is there anything you'd like to add for the board?
Yes, wanted to find out why we wouldn't be able to do permeable pavers as a form of, mitigation. We built a pool and received approval for this exact same pool on the same street in 1907, if I'm not mistaken, where permeable pavers were allowed over there.
Okay. So you're asking the question, why couldn't you use permeable pavers? Is that correct? Okay.
We were denied the, when we suggested that as a alternative, we were told no. But on the same street, on another property was allowed.
Okay. Members of the board, do you guys have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, could Frank explain why the pavers are not allowed?
The lot he's speaking of is 1907, and I showed you a drawing of it. The lots are very different shapes. The lot at 1907 is much wider and much narrower, not as deep, which allowed the applicant to place the pool on the side of the house, which left them a much larger area to install the permeable pavers, which provides stormwater runoff reduction and treat water quality. As I mentioned earlier, for example, you don't want to have permeable pavers right next to the foundation of the house. In this particular lot, 1921, the permeable pavers that were suggested would be also under an existing deck adjacent to the house. So the deck itself is considered to be impervious. So to put a permeable paver under an impervious cover is not going to provide you any benefit. Okay.
And also, was that pool at 1907 100 feet from the stream? Not the pool area, but, any impervious. We talked
Because the
about
lot
100
was
feet.
not as deep,
Okay,
it was much further away.
gotcha.
Okay. The lot that's 1907, only a small section of that lot was even in the 50-foot buffer. It was not even in the 25-foot buffer at all.
So both lots really, they're
very
not
different.
equally, yeah, very
Yeah,
different.
comparing
correct.
apples and oranges.
Okay,
Okay.
that was the
And
only
I
question.
have the site plans here if anybody wants to see them.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay. We do have a standard condition stipulation, but you're not recommending approval, so that's not a part of this process. It is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to speak in favor or against? Let the record reflect that there's no one here to speak in favor or against. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Twenty-two 55 allow encroachment into the 75-foot surface area setback, lot 696 at 1921 Sadler Drive. Eddie Carr applicant.
Second.
This item has been properly moved and seconded. If you would please state your name, or if you would please vote. And please know that a yes vote is approving the denial. Motion has passed 3-0 to deny the variance. With that said, anytime there's a denial in council, Ms. Crow would be happy to give you guys the steps to do that process if that's something you guys would like to pursue. Okay, moving on to our next item, which is just, I believe, approval of the minutes. Item 3A, MIN 2022-60. Approve the August 10, 2022 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
If you would please vote. Thank you. That item passes 3-0. And with that, at 10:26, I will adjourn the meeting.